What's going on, guys? It's Coach Gaglione here. There's another edition of the Powerlifting for People podcast. I'm your host, Coach Gaglione, and I've been involved with powerlifting and strength coaching for over 15 years. So we're going to do a little bit of a series for the next couple of weeks, just kind of interviewing and chatting with some of our members. And today we got Paul on. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
So for the people that don't know who you are, can you just give us a little quick intro on who you are and what you got going on right now?
Name's Paul. I'm a powerlifter. I deadlift a lot. I squat an okay amount, and I bench. Well, it's poverty. So,
So if you want to give, I got like your numbers up here, but if you want to give maybe the listeners a little bit about your PR, I know, like, I guess, yeah, last meet, I think everything was actually a PR. So I got your PRs right here. We got a 534 squat, a 303 bench. So you made the 300 club, which was good.
finally.
Finally. And then you got the most notable, you got the 716 deadlift, which is top ranked pull, which was awesome. So that was a lot of fun to watch. But so why don't you guys just kind of rewind a little bit. So I got like some of your like results here. I think and you can kind of maybe like remember a little better than me, but it looks like I think when we first started working together a couple of years ago, I think that maybe your total is maybe like around 1,000 or a little bit above that. So can you just tell us a bit like how you kind of got involved with powerlifting in the first place, kind of like, and what you were maybe like lifting when you first started competing, and obviously like you're still a teenager, right? Like how old are you right now?
18.
Cool. So let's rewind a little bit. Let's go take a trip down memory lane and tell us like how you got started, how you got into it, and what was it like the first couple of times you competed like without a coach, and then we can kind of talk about what was different, like lifting, and competing without a coach, and then eventually getting a coach and actually getting on like a program.
Okay. So I got into powerlifting just like because actually Larry Wills, I was like, oh, it's so badass, such a strong dude. And
Was there like a video or like a lift that you saw him do that was like really inspiring, or or was it just like a bunch of different like clips that you saw, or any like moment that you were like, this is really cool, I'd really like to like try this for myself?
it was probably it was just everything. Like, he was just crazy, he's just an animal. And at that age, I was like maybe 14 or 15. I just thought it was so fucking cool. So I originally started lifting for girls, right? And I was such a scrawny, small kid. I was like, if I get bigger, girls will like me, which is not how it works at all. The dude's like, so I found powerlifting because of Larry. And it turns out that there was like a very small secretive club at my middle school, ran by my shop teacher, who was a powerlifter, and he would take like certain kids and bring them in, and we would stay after school and lift. And I initially was not one of these kids because I was so small and scrawny. My friend actually was the first kid to be taken in, and they would go lift after school. They had like a boys and a girls section, and he would teach them the basics, the best that he knew at that time. And eventually my buddy recommended me, and I was so fucking psyched. So I started lifting with him, learned the very, very basics. How when everyone first starts squatting and benching and deadlifting, they suck at it pretty badly. But I just liked it a lot. So I stuck with it. I started looking up programs online, and I bought Larry's programs, which I'm pretty sure were made by you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, maybe when I was like 15, I was like, maybe I should just hire this guy. And I called up you, and I was like, or I texted you or whatever. And I was like, yo, can you coach me? And you're like, yeah, sign the waiver. Cool. And that's how it happened.
So I want to talk about like your experience. Like I think maybe you did like maybe one or two meets like on your own maybe, and then like how like that was, and then what was it like? I guess just trying to like, it seems like you got a little bit of help, but maybe just maybe not too much guidance. But what was it like, doing a meet and like kind of training by yourself, and then like what was the transition like when you first I guess, started to like, do the coaching. And obviously for people that are listening, Paul's on a remote program, and we'll kind of get into it a little bit later, but we have done some stuff in person. And, I got coached Paul in person for his last meet, which I think was fantastic. And I think it worked out really well. But what was it like first, like just kind of trying to do it on your own? And then I guess, what were some things that you kind of realized immediately that were kind of different when you first, I guess, started working with myself?
So it was very, very different. Kind of hard to remember because that was so long ago, but I remember being disqualified on one, and it was just because I training with a person with experience and trying to learn everything on your own is just different, when you have a coach, they kind of just guide you in the right direction. When you're trying to do it on yourself, do it by yourself, it can be overwhelming. And there's so much bad information out there. There's so many things that people should probably unlearn. And when you have someone with lots of experience, they already kind of have been through the bullshit, and it just makes it a lot easier. My first coach with you, or my first meet with you, was probably, it wasn't like the best meet I've ever had, but it was definitely way more smooth. And I mean, with you physically in person, everything just ran smoother. I didn't have to think about anything. I didn't have to think about my numbers. I didn't have to
So
worry about how much.
I guess with me, like helping with the warm-ups and picking your attempts, what did that allow you to like do? Like what felt like, I guess, easier, or like, or how did that kind of what did that do for your mindset and your performance? Like, what did you feel was different when you had that guidance in person?
I just felt like I could focus on the mission better, like I had a goal in mind, and it was all of my attention was focused on that. And when you don't have a person there, it's harder, because you think about your warm-up selection, you think about your temp selection, you have to think about all these other variables. But when you have a coach there, it's just smooth. It's like you can focus better on the weight that you want to lift. You're confident that this person with more experience knows what to do, like for warm-ups, and knows the amount of food that you need and sodium you need and water you need. It's like you're coasting, basically. I don't know. That's how it felt.
You're on like cruise control or autopilot.
Yeah.
So obviously there's like a lot of trust involved. So was there, I guess, a point where, I don't know, like obviously you flew up to New York and we did some in-person work together. You competed at one of our local meets, which was a lot of fun. Was there like, I guess, a turning point where you felt like, okay, like there's a good level of trust here, and I feel like I'm really like, so, because obviously like, you went from, you may not like realize this now because obviously you're still pretty young, but like for someone to put like 500 pounds like on their total, actually more than 500 pounds on their total in like the amount of time that's very substantial. And some people I mentioned before, so, Paul has an elite total at 198. And some people it takes 5 or 10 years as an adult to like achieve that kind of status. So I know like sometimes we can get things twisted with like what is good and what is, competitive and what you should feel accomplished. But these are like this is a very like a 1554 total. Obviously his deadlifts is, a big part of that, but it's still a very impressive, like it's not like a total to scoff at, especially like at your age. So was there like a moment, or was there like a point in time where you feel like things really clicked and like, oh wow, this is like I'm really hitting my stride now? Was there maybe an exercise or like a training block that you can remember where now things are like kind of like really kind of in like you're on like a different track now?
There was a meet actually that just made me like think, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm benefiting. It was Raw Nationals before they were like all separate. That 2019 Raw Nationals was, I broke an American record, and I was so fucking hyped. And that was like, oh, this, for me, that was like, this training is working. I'm getting way stronger fast, and when I, flew up to see you, meeting you in person, I was like, this guy I can trust this guy, especially when we were doing like warm-ups and stuff with the squats. I was like, he knows what he's doing. And then all the equipment you had, just fascinated me. I was like, because I don't get to see a lot of that stuff, or I didn't at the time, in little line passes. And then, all the stuff you had on the wall about Larry wheels and all your other lifters and all the lifters that you've taken from like, shitty to good and good to elite. It's like, it's a sign of a good coach,
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think it's important that, like, obviously, like, unfortunately or fortunately, obviously you found me, a lot of people know me from coaching Larry for that like 7-year period where he was, really on a tear. But we work with a lot of other great lifters too, and they just may not have the Instagram following or the accolades that he does, but the system works. The system is repeatable. And I think, we continue to turn out, at this point, I think we're like a little bit over 100 like lifters that we've helped, get nationally ranked in like the top 50 in their weight class over the years. And so, and we consistently kind of continue to put out more and more elite lifters and pro level lifters. It could be tough to kind of, like you said, sift through a lot of like the noise. But I think you're on like a really good path. So I want to kind of like maybe just talk a little bit about like some techniques and training and stuff. So now, you're at a point now where like some of the stuff is like just kind of tweaking your programming. Like we're kind of experimenting now a little bit with playing with your frequency and volume and stuff. But I guess going from like, we went from like, obviously just the last couple of contests, I'd say from like the last 2 to 3 meets, like you really made like probably like your biggest jump in like progress, going from, I guess, yeah, if you put like 150 pounds like on your PR, which is obviously a big part was your deadlift. Was there anything that you felt like in terms of like exercises that we did, or maybe techniques that you kind of figured out that kind of really helped with like your, I guess, most recent performance? Because obviously you PR'd every single lift. We went 8 for 9. We had the little like, foot slip mishap or whatever on your opener, but
yeah, that's
outside of that, I consider that like basically a perfect meet. You PR'd every single lift. You PR'd your total, you hit elite. And then obviously like, pulling over 700 was something that I know that was like on your radar for a really long time. Like just kind of like, so I think it was a nice, like kind of relief to kind of finally actually do that in a contest with calibrated plates with judges. And so I guess, was there anything maybe that you felt, I guess, really like that you benefited from? Do you think it was just time, like just like getting more experience, or was there anything? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. A couple things actually. So one, the extra weight I think helped.
So focusing on like getting just better nutrition and putting muscle on. So
yeah, I think the extra weight really helped my squat and bench. And we changed to heels for squat, which I think was a good move. I think I need a different pair actually, but I feel more comfortable in them. I feel like it feels more natural in a way, to squat in them, which is weird because they're, unnatural, but I think that has definitely helped my squat. And focusing on like foot pressure and back tension and that kind of stuff, I think that has also really helped my squat. My buddies, and I'm sure you've told me this, but it's different in person. For the bench press, the stacking, it really, really helped me. Like that cue stacking is just made so much sense to my brain that it helped it a lot. In terms of the deadlift, I think I went to go train with Kaylor Willem, and I don't think he I don't think he likes me because I was like an arrogant guy when I was there, because I was so fucking when I met him. But he really helped me with my deadlift in the sense like everybody was telling me to go closer, that my feet needed to be closer together. But after training with him, um, he told me a couple things. One, that my feet should be like a little bit more spread out. And then he taught me about like a dynamic start, which I know isn't always like a great thing, but after we talked in person, I analyzed so many of his videos and like how he pulls the slack out and then wedges in, but he does it fast, which I tried that out and it just felt so good, you know. It just made so much sense and it just felt better.
Clicks.
Yeah.
So a couple of things I just want to like kind of highlight for people listening. So number one, there's some trial and error there. Like one thing that I there's like there's like your textbook form and mechanics and stuff. So there's like certain rules that I think that everyone should kind of abide by or at least strive for. And then there's obviously technical standards that you need to like hit. But then there's some style and there's some form deviations from like lifter to lifter. And I think that's where like kind of the trial and error comes in. So that could be like the footwear you wear, that could be, where you place the bar on your back, where you, how wide your stance is. Like you talked about the intention of like your setup is you changed a little bit and it felt like really good. It clicked. I actually had a similar experience last year. Obviously, and something that I worked on, we trained with Larry and Jamal, which was a lot of fun. That was a pretty epic session. And I completely changed like how I set up in my deadlift. And I thought it actually, if anything, which was interesting, because I know like Jamal probably has never, seen like someone lift in a suit before, at least, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, but I thought it really worked well for an equipped lifter. And it's something I'm still like working on. It's still like, I'm like a year into kind of, using that setup. I'm still getting the timing down. But also it was like a more dynamic start than from what I'm used to too. Cause since I've lost the weight, I'm not as strong off the floor anymore, cause I just don't have the same like body mass. So having that dynamic start allowed me a little bit more acceleration at the beginning of the pull. So that was something, if I just didn't try it, and like same thing with you, if you so I think it is good sometimes to seek out. And like I said, Paul still like communicated that with me, which was helpful. And we kind of just like went with it. So I think it's good to learn from others and it's good to like try things. And especially like, if you don't have a meet coming up, don't be afraid to kind of try. So if whether that's going from sumo to conventional, whether it's adjusting your stance, going from feet flat bench to feet tucked or high bar to low bar. And the other thing I also want to highlight too, besides just like kind of trying some new things and getting more experience, was your focus on your diet, which again, I commend you, because I think sometimes for even like our adult lifters and some of our masters lifters, that's always like a challenge for people. So with your eating habits, you don't need to go like really extensively, but like what were, I guess, some major things that you felt like really helped as far as allow you to perform better, like in terms of the type of food you ate or the meal frequency? Like what were some, just like maybe some of the most, I guess, important changes that you felt in terms of like your eating to help with to put more muscle on and put, so obviously I guess when we started working together, you were probably like in like the mid 160s and now you're like over 200 pounds now, pretty consistently and still pretty lean. So what were some, like, I guess, some dietary, changes that you made that you found very beneficial?
Well, I have a great metabolism, which is not always a good thing for powerlifting. So like you said, when I started off, I was really, really skinny. I was like 160 and I was like 5'10" or 5'11". But the biggest things that like always helped me with that is just trying to be better at it, or trying to learn more. Like there are so many great resources out there for this. Like when I started off, I would always eat, chicken and rice. I would like the typical bodybuilder diet, and I had just come to hate that so much. So I started to try to like, this is a really great thing. Learn how to cook, if it's, even if it's just a little bit, learn how to cook, learn how to make things taste good, because it'll keep you on track for the most part. That's like the biggest thing. And you can make a lean meat, like a lean ground beef or a lean steak or anything like that taste good. It just takes a little bit of effort. It's not that hard. And doing it consistently, like surrounding yourself with good things like leaner meats, better sources of carbs, better fats, just having them in your household and eating them consistently. It doesn't rewire you or anything, but it just makes you more likely to eat those good things, and a little bit of candy every now and then, or like a little bit of cake, or it's not going to kill you, it's just try to have more wins than losses. Yeah.
Learning to cook, enjoy what you eat, be consistent, and don't be afraid to like treat yourself like once in a while too. I think because big thing is like you have to enjoy the diet. I think you have to enjoy like the food. So I think those are all like really good things. But the fact that like just with your training, like it's good, you should have some sort of plan and just don't go like just like you wouldn't like lift weights like blindfolded. You shouldn't just haphazardly like just try to like find food like when you need it. I would say have food on hand, plan ahead. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that's great. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time. And so one thing I like to like leave with people is, I guess if you could just give some advice for like maybe there's some younger listeners potentially starting out, or maybe there's some parents that want to get like their kids maybe involved in lifting. Like what is like one piece of advice just to kind of help people get started, or maybe like some things to maybe like potentially like avoid, or mistakes that maybe you made in the past that, what are, I guess, leave some parting advice for people that are just getting started out that maybe you wish that you knew, like, when you got started.
Have fun with it. That's the reason why most of us get into it, is because it's fun. So if you're trying to get your kids into it, or or if you're trying to get into it consistently, have fun with it, build a community or get a part of the community. Don't ego lift, that's another important one. Don't be that douchebag who throws on a stupid amount of weight when you can't do it. And get back, do like spotted a meet, or
It's big.
Maybe just help out in general. It's a big thing. There aren't a lot of volunteers. So if you're trying to get in the community and have fun with it, just help out a little bit.
Cool. And then so in terms of like the coaching side, in terms of, because I obviously like people, so, you mentioned that it was like really beneficial to like work with me in person and stuff like that. In terms of like the remote side of things, obviously like not everyone, like you obviously take this very seriously, which is great. And I do think that like, I always prefer like some sort of hybrid option whenever possible. Like our best, and even like, I was this past May, I was at USPA drug test nationals in Georgia. We usually coach, we've had people like, do the Arnold, the XPC finals for many years. And a lot of times I get to meet kind of our remote members in person, which is really cool, and get to work with them. But outside of like the in-person stuff, I guess if someone, and obviously like I'm not saying like what I do is the best or whatever, but what I do think is good. I do think that, well, I'll let you say, like, what are some things in terms of the online like program, and in terms of the online coaching part, like when we're communicating, when I'm giving you feedback, like what are some things that you have found helpful? So when people, whether they end up, someone listening to this maybe hires me or not, but if they're looking for an online coach, what are some things that you found have been like really helpful? And what would you say like you should be like looking for if you do like want to invest in like a coach like that's remote? What are some things that you think have been, really helpful for you?
Someone who communicates, for one. That's like hands down the most important thing. Someone who actually reviews your videos, communicates, and doesn't just communicate, but is like you click with, and is available. Someone you can text, whether it's on Instagram or whatever, and be ask questions, and they'll respond in a reasonable amount of time. And I've met coaches who will be like that at first, and then over time they'll just stop. They'll just stop answering Instagram messages, or coaches who will actually just totally ghost.
Yeah,
Like, it's crazy. I don't want to throw shade, but I'm gonna throw shade. I think his name's something C.
yeah, we don't need to like mention people's names, but like the whole point is that it's really important that you communicate regularly. And I'll say too, because we're not trying to like hurt anyone or whatever, but I think that if you are going to coach people, it's really important that, you know, I try. So I'll just tell you guys up front. I try to like tell our guys and girls, you know, to update their coaching. I try to update their coaching logs Monday through Thursday. I do have a family and I do have people that, you know, so I try to take the week. So if you try, like Paul, I'm sure you like know this, if you try to get a hold of me on a Saturday, sometimes it's hard, or like I'm sleeping at weird, you know, I sleep early and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I always tell Paul, you know, and our guys and our girls, if there is like an emergency or something and you just need like, you know, some, you know, DM me, text me, whatever. If it's something is urgent, like I'll, you know, we'll get a hold of you. And then obviously, you know, like if it's like getting close to the meet, you know, that I'm always trying to like give you guys like a little extra attention, like when you guys are starting to compete and you're getting close to a peaking cycle. And usually the communication like ramps up at that point. So that's what I try to like do with people. I think it's really important. And if you need more communication, or you want more, or sometimes like today, like Paulie had before the call, you know, just being transparent, like he wanted to like say like, hey, can we like modify some things? And I think it's important to work with, you know, your clients and your team members. And even if maybe like on paper, like it's okay to experiment with things, even if maybe you like don't believe in it or whatever, or it
Yeah.
wasn't exactly on plan, but that's like, it's good to try things. And then if it doesn't work, but that's what, you know, communicating with your coach is there for. It's a long process, like I said. So I mean, when we started, you know, we're slowly making little tweaks over time. So like, obviously, program to program, there might be not a huge difference, but like from, you know, like from like when we first started to now, like things are like way different. You're way stronger. You're a different athlete. So you need different things. And we even did like a little bit of like a bodybuilding kind of off season, which was completely different, but like you did put on a lot of size. And so I think that like we kind of accomplished that goal. So sometimes you shift gears completely, and then you kind of shift back, but this is like a long process. And I think, you know, Paulie like understands that even at a young age. So really cool. So I guess if people are listening and maybe they want to like follow some of your lifts on Instagram, like where can they follow you?
Paulie 231, all
231.
lowercase.
Very cool.
All of it. Instagram.
Excellent. So yeah, we appreciate you having on. To give Paul a follow. We got some good, real cool deadlift videos and some other things, and real excited to see his progress. So I'll just say he's definitely a good person to follow, especially if maybe you're like maybe like a sub junior or junior lifter, and if you're like in like the Texas area, you're based in San Antonio, right? You guys could, you know, definitely hit him up and hit up the guys over there. Because I know like they're always looking for more training partners and people on their team. So, well, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, please share it. Please give it a 5-star review. Check out the links in the description. And until next time, stay strong. And we'll see you soon.